Where's Tracy? Hey there. Okay, for some reason, is it not going to let me go on Facebook? And we are not going on Facebook. What the heck? Oh, there we go. All right, just a little fussy.
It's just fussy.
It is. I'm really, for the most part, getting off Facebook. I'm kind of sick of it. Okay, Marketing Monday. Next. Oh, wow. It's taking forever too.
That happens. We got 3 minutes. We're good.
Oh, we do. Look at me. I'm like
You're
ahead.
efficient. Yeah.
Finally, after 7 months, I'm efficient.
We got this down and we're done.
Right.
Did you tell Scott?
I haven't told Scott. I'm on his thing tomorrow morning. I think Tom is too, isn't he?
Yeah, social media day.
Are we doing Getting Personal?
Getting Personal virtual.
Intimacy is important. Makes it sound like we're doing porn. That's okay.
We're not getting that personal. Let's be really clear.
Oh, wait a minute. I don't have to post. Hold on. Put it in the wrong place. Okay, go live. It should be live. Oh, I can get rid of Live Leap now, huh?
Probably, unless you're going to use it elsewhere. Hey, everyone. Welcome. We are talking getting personal while you're virtual. Getting virtually personal. I don't know. I'm always like reworking the name, right?
Yes, up until the very last minute.
Up until the very last minute. I'm like, let's change the name. Let's work on that. So yeah, I don't know. We're always changing it, but that's what we're working on.
Okay, I literally cannot see right now. I don't know what happened, but I'm assuming we're.
No, we're good. We're on. So I'm watching us. We're on.
I see us. No, I mean back to our video.
Oh, we're here. We're here. All of you guys are here. So we are going to talk about getting personal virtual. Now, what does that mean? Juliet and I both think that you have to have a personal voice in places, right? You got to be you. You got to be personal about things. There isn't this sort of persona as opposed to personnel, right? That's what we're talking about here, is a little bit of difference. And it really is that personality that you're expressing out there is what gets people attracted to you. I get it all the time, right? People will say, I followed you because I really like your energy. I get that. Like, they're like, I don't know what you're saying. I have no idea. I don't even know if I want to start a podcast or whatever it might be that I'm talking about. Or my favorite one was when they used to follow me for 3D printing. They're like, I'm not even sure if I like this 3D printing thing, but you seem fun. Like, right? I'm like, great. I got great energy. Come join me, right? This happens. So we have to remember that there is a part of that. And if we're not living in the energy of who we are, it's not really going to work out there. And that's a little bit of the woo-woo side of getting personal virtual.
Yes. And I get that a lot too with the energy. That's why it's so important to be authentic when you hear about this, because that's the thing that people cue in on first is, are you energetic? Do I resonate with them? So if you're not being real, people get that.
Yeah, absolutely. They do. And, this is the other part about it, is that if we're not congruous to who we are offline and online, that makes a big difference to people. So if we aren't the same as when people meet us in person and we're different online, they don't love that. They're like, this is odd. Like, What's going on? So that's important to keep that in mind. So if you are really friendly and in person, and then you're really like behind the camera, get camera fright and have this kind of stilted attitude when you're on virtual, that's not going to work. Or the other way. Like I see it as you're like on the stage presence and I'm the diva when I'm on stage, but gosh, I got my hair up in the ponytail and I'm in my like, sweatpants and I'm totally casual online. There is an issue. There is a congruence issue. When you're laughing about
I'm
that,
laughing.
Juliet.
That's like totally me.
Have you ever seen me in sweatpants?
I've never seen you in sweatpants, but I did an interview.
I don't even own any.
I barely do. I own a lot of athletic equipment, athletic clothes.
You actually run, like that's not in my wheelhouse. You don't need sweatpants to go walk the dog around the neighborhood.
You don't. But I was going to say last Friday morning, 6 a.m. my time, I had an interview on a show in the UK, and it was later in the day. And I literally rolled out of bed, brushed my hair. I had running shorts on with a nice shirt.
But they couldn't see that.
No, they couldn't see that. But I did mention it to them because it was.
Because, hey, it's early.
Yeah, it's really early. You're lucky I had makeup on. I've never had makeup on that early, But yeah. It is true though. Like when you don't show up, like remember you and I talked about a while back at Aaron Young's event. I went to an event for myself versus being on stage in an event or, somebody who was there to be seen. It was my personal growth time. And I walked in and somebody like looked me up and down and went, "Oh, you look different." Because I had on jeans and a shirt and my hair up in a ponytail because that was my time.
So. Right. Yeah. So there is that sort of expectation that online and offline match or have synergy together, right? Like, I mean, there's a difference and we all have our moments, even when we're in public or when we're on virtual and we have to show up and we don't look as good as we normally do. But it's part of the reason that I chose to, during the whole time of quarantine, put my lipstick on and do my hair, right? Like it's the reason I chose to do that because I wanted to set this, look, that's who I am when you see me out at an event. That's how I'm going to show up here for you virtual as well. So having that sort of, and it's not like it's fake. I actually do like put my lipstick on in the morning. It's just, it is who I am. I do. I love lipstick. It's my favorite thing.
Oh, wow. No,
yeah, it's like, it makes me feel better about me. So, right. Why wouldn't I do it? But this is who I am. And this is who I am. Oh, look at Juliet's going to put her lipstick on now.
Well,
just not to be outdone.
That's right. Not to be outdone. Didn't I just tell you if I'm going to not be the best?
She did. Just offline. She told me that if she's going to be the best, she's going to be the best at something. It doesn't matter what it is. Even if it's like an absolute failure at something, she's going to fail at the best that anyone has ever done at that. And I was like, go for it. Right. Because that's who she is, right? And so, but there's some tactics and techniques to being personal here when you're in a virtual environment. And so people think that some of it is like to go and give shout outs. Hey, Paul, hey, hey, Becky, look at you guys on Facebook. Like they think that's about getting personal. And while that's nice, if it fits what you're doing and the shout outs and the way things are happening, that's fantastic. And you should do that. But if it's not helping move the message through, if it's not helping keep the persona going, if it's not helping really make sure that intimacy of like, I'm here to give you something and I've got 10 minutes to give it to you in, or 30 minutes, whatever that is, and I'm going to barrel through this for you because that's how I'm showing up for you, then don't do the chit-chatty thing, right? It's not the way to go. This isn't, I was just joking about it today. I guess Periscope's not dead, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like making a comeback. But this isn't Twitch or something like that, right? Like, this isn't all about that. If the only thing that you're doing online is creating this like shout out back and forth, like, hey, we're here and chat, then do that. But if that's not what you're doing, then finding a different way to get personal is important too. Mm-hmm. So my way of doing it is that I'm always watching the list of people who are coming on, and I know them, most of them. or I try to get to know them. And, because most of our groups are closed groups, so we actually do know the people in them. And so when I watch that, it's the same thing that I do at a live event, which is when I go to a live event, I sort of assess the people that are there before I speak. That's why I'd never love to go first. And I like to get a sense of the room, get who's there, how many real estate investors do we have in the audience, and how many authors do we have, and how many keynote speakers are here, and sort of get a sense for that, so that when I'm online, I'm going to switch up my stories because I know they're going to resonate with the people in the audience.
Mm-hmm.
That's my way of making a personal connection point. Because then what happened when I was on stage is you felt like I was talking to you. Well, why shouldn't it feel that way when I'm coming through your phone or through your, computer? Why through Zoom or through Facebook or through YouTube, wherever you're going, why shouldn't it feel like I'm talking to you? Because I can see you. So it's a little bit easier. So I should be talking to you, not personally chit-chatty, but talking to you in terms of giving you something that's of value because you showed up.
Right. So what else does that look like? Zoom calls. I don't see we have anybody on here, but I know we have people on Facebook. Give shout outs. Bring people on. If
You
you're
do
on
a little
Zoom.
more than shout outs, right?
Well, yeah.
Be intimate about your shout outs, making sure that you say, I do it all the time. Oh, so-and-so just launched their show.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I'm aware of, or we congratulated Scott Carson last week because he hit over 600 episodes.
Woo-hoo.
Yeah, I mean, amazing. So that's what we did in our coaching group. We see him on there. It wasn't we're going to give a shout out chat thing, but that's a milestone. So it highlights him doing something great. It's a lesson for the audience. It's also makes him feel good. Right? Because we acknowledged him, right? So trying to work in something where it isn't just hey, glad you're here, right?
Right,
deeper than that.
Right. And that's what we've been using the quizzes for on the online events. I can actually see it coming in, and and thanks, Tracy. Thanks so much for taking that and scheduling that appointment. So you can really give shout outs in that way too, and acknowledge people for engaging,
taking action, whatever that might be. The other thing that we love to do is hot seat. You see Juliet and I do it over the time, right? When we see somebody who's there and it ties into what we're talking about, we like to hot seat them and ask them a few questions or get them to talk about the story behind it, because then it's not just us, we're now creating community. And that community has an intimacy to it, has a personal nature to it.
Absolutely there. So other things you can do online to be intimate. What are some other things you can do? Because I think people are a little lost right now. Especially, I talked to someone this morning who said, I'm scared to do a Facebook Live. I'm scared to do a video. And we're at that point where you have to be doing those things.
So some of the things that we used to do in our podcast show work really well, and we still do them today, but we now do them in video instead. What we do is that when people would send us in questions, while we might answer them back in email because that's how they did it, they emailed us a question and we answered it. What we do is on the show, we'll say, wow, Liam from New Jersey, thank you for asking this question. This I think is going to help so many other people. So I want to address it here today too. So we do that still today, even though we may address the question one-on-one with our clients, but there's no reason to think that there isn't a place for it later. And acknowledging that the question came from a real person encourages your audience and the people listening to then do something like ask a question themselves. So you're creating an engagement in the personal by personalizing it at the same time.
Yeah. And I notice people are doing that. Podcasters are doing that with reviews as well. Go over and leave us a review. We'll give you a shout out at the end of the show and they'll read a review or something like that. So really acknowledging and connecting with that audience in a more meaningful way.
Well, and then don't forget to go from last week. So if you had someone from the prior time you were online, so like of last week's Marketing Monday Mixer, if there's a story that ties in from then from someone who placed a comment. So now you're addressing the comments that were made from the prior week, pulling them into this week's. We're creating that cross engagement too, which is also creating a broader community and engagement rate across various shows. So now I am getting people interested in going to listen to that previous episode or that previous installment or a video or whatever it is that your content is coming on.
And that brings up a great point. So with the content from my podcast, many times if I do a podcast that is pertinent to a problem someone's told me about, I do this a lot over on LinkedIn. I'll thank them for showing up for the call. But then if I have a podcast or some content that'll help them, I'll also drop the link in and link into there and say, hey, you know, I think this will be helpful for what we discussed. So
Right.
there are ways to kind of keep people engaged in that sense as well. And I do a lot of that with my podcast.
Yeah, it's just this kind of cross-pollination. We want to do it both from our content standpoint and from the users and the listeners and the viewers and the audience, right? So we want to cross-pollinate because that creates a personal, because people don't think like linearly. I wish we all did, right? And wouldn't it be nice if you just checked all the boxes, went in order for everything, but people don't think like that. We're all over the place. We've got ideas here, right? I mean, Juliet, I know you're an analytical person, but you know better than I that people are not like that. The majority of the people are not like that.
No, they're not. No, they're not.
Right?
So I'm laughing because someone actually said to me today about, well, why wouldn't you do that for your audience? And she's like, because they're stupid. And I was like, really? That's
No,
what you think of
that's-
your audience? Like,
That's not okay.
that might be why you have a disconnect.
Well, but then let's also reset that, because when you're talking about wanting to be personal while you're in a virtual environment, the last thing you want to do is like, this is stupid and I don't want to be here, right? We talked about that
Right?
energy at the beginning.
Yes.
If you think they don't know that, they do. I say this all the time to my team. If you're frustrated with having to answer this question for the 100th time to the same person, I can tell you it's coming across hostile, even in
Yes.
an email.
Yes. And it's the same thing for enrollment conversations. I talk about this a lot. If you're not confident about your offer, people on the other end are going to get it. Back about 3 years ago, I had a $25,000 offer. And on the call, the first time I presented it, I stuttered. Not just once, I stuttered 3 times. And that was a big cue to me that I am not comfortable. What is it? Is it the dollar amount? Is it what I'm presenting? I know I'm confident in my abilities, but people get that when you're kind of wishy-washy about your offer too. It's that same energy they can pick up that you're not confident about something.
Right. And we have to remember that, I mean, we think, okay, well, I'm holding my phone, I'm on a camera, like this is distance. It's creating that barrier, but it is not. It is not. All energy goes through that. All the facial twitches that you make, most people do see it. You know, all of these things are happening. The way your voice sounds, if it's not consistent with who you are out in the normal public environment, and now you're hitting virtual, they can tell that you're not confident about what you do. Don't get me wrong. Tech stuff happens to all of us and we all have a little hiccup, but it happens on stage too. So if it's happening on stage, and how would you deal with it, and how would you pick up, and how would you keep going? There's no difference doing it here on virtual. Do that thing too, right? Acknowledge it for what it is. Take the energy of like, let's move on and let's go for it, right? Let's be that person who barrels through and who says like, you know what? We're here. Let's just do this thing.
A sense of humor is definitely essential in this industry. It definitely is, because you have to be able to laugh at yourself when you make those mistakes. I don't know if I ever told you guys this. It's funny you said that about Periscope. The first time, and keep this in mind when you're trying new things, the first time I ever tried Periscope, it was awful. Like I literally got off. I felt like I was going to cry. And then Periscope used to have this thing where anybody you were connected to would just pop on with their video. And there was a real estate crew that I knew, and they actually, one of them spoke with their hands. They had the little tripod with the phone. They knocked off the phone in the first like 10 seconds, and the phone went across the room. You could hear them scrambling on the floor, cussing, grab the blah, 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 blah. And at that moment, I remember thinking, oh my God, I'm such a rock star on this.
That's right. I got this.
But it's like, but you know what though? It was very endearing to me that they did it. People are so forgiving because they're either not doing it or they've had these things happen, that you really like, you can't get down on yourself when you do this stuff, because you're being authentic, you're plowing through, and people respect that.
Right. And you know what? Today it's okay. Like you just heard the dog bark in the background, right? Like I was just about to mention sometimes the dog barks, right? And so like sometimes the dog barks, sometimes the kids pop in. How many times has Vanessa popped in on one of our Marketing Monday mixers? Enough to tell me, Mom, don't tell another story about me, right? Like she will say that on air. And so, you know, these things are happening to us right now. And don't think that, oh my gosh, I'm going to lose it because it's taking away from the professionalism that I wanted to express. No, you're a human being. You're a real person who's working from home like the rest of us, right? That's okay, you know, and that you don't have to have like this structured personality. What the congruence I was talking about before between who you are in real life doesn't mean that you're like, and who you are on stage and who you are virtually. Like those three things are not separated, right? I'm still a real human being on stage too, and I've, you know, tripped over my own shoes, and like, you know, those things happen, right? So that doesn't mean perfection. It just means I'm really trying to be that same person.
Right.
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 And that same imperfect person, right? So, because we all really are.
Yeah.
Although we can exude a lot of confidence, right?
Yeah. As long as you don't have a wardrobe fail, that would probably be fatal.
Well, you know, you never know. It's bound to happen.
Yeah,
Not to me necessarily, but it's bound to happen.
yes, it is.
So to someone out there, right? And you know what? Hopefully that's not fatal. And you can always pull down the video later.
Yes, you can. That's the wonders of editing.
Now, there will be a few people who will have seen it, but you're going to always pull it down later, right?
That's true.
So, you know, so you were talking about Aaron Young before, and I was at Michelle Pearson Young and Aaron Young's event this weekend. We were at the Inner Circle, so it was the first live event that I've been at since March 8th. So this is the first live event, and you know, there was some interesting things that were going through my mind as we were talking about what subject we were going to talk about today, and it's sort of thinking about like how you want to show up in the world. And Michelle said this fabulous thing about how you know, there's that woman who knows. That's what she called her. The woman who knows, the woman who like knows exactly what to do, exactly how to do it. And you want to become that. You want to be that. Like, and you want to, you know, there's parts of our lives where we're not that. Like there's serious days as a mom where I go, boy, these kids are killing my confidence, right? So like it happens in all parts. It's not, you know, even I can look like I absolutely own this and know everything there is to know about podcasting, but when it comes to like teaching a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old how to read, forget it, right? So there's always something that takes us down a peg, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so what is it, and how do you become that, and what do you want to do that? This is my thing. Go for it. Right? Mm-hmm. Sit here, do it. Because the more you do this, the more comfortable you're going to be with it, the better off you're going to be. The more you cannot fake week after week after week and stay in a persona unless you are a really good actress. Mm-hmm. Right? You got to be a great actor to be able to accomplish that. So it is going to peel back who you thought you were, and that personality and that person is going to come through the virtual world. So Juliet, how long have we been doing this one? The Marketing Monday Mixer?
Oh gosh, since the end of October, I believe.
Yeah, I think sometime in October, right after we came back from Scott's event, I think it was,
yes,
we decided we were going to do this, right?
We did, yeah.
Yeah. And so we gave it, 7 months. And we decided to stop. So everyone who's listening today, or watching today, this is our last Marketing Monday Mixer. So what did we learn? Let's do that. What did you learn, Juliet? What did you get out of it that was valuable? And what do you say, this is why we're not going to keep going?
I got to use all the tech Scott taught us. Yeah. Scott threw a lot of tech at us at that event. So we got to utilize it. I made a course out of it. I actually have a Launch Like a Pro course that people can take where we teach them all the tech, how to set up a show. and how to get all of that going. And we've done it for a few people for workshops because people are doing these workshops. So I did get a lot out of it in terms of how to take my people to the next level when I'm working with them. So there was that. The reason I'm stopping is, you guys don't know this, but when I was writing mystery novels, I had a huge following on Twitter. And I woke up one morning right around 2015 and a half before the election, and I realized that Twitter had become too toxic to continue. So I got rid of about 7,000 people. And so here we are, it's almost 2020, and I feel like Facebook is just too toxic. So I'm probably going to go more towards auto posting and just leave.
Right. So yeah. So just for those of you who may not remember in previous episode that I talk about that I do use Twitter still because I was required to do it as a columnist. But it's all auto posting. So there's no real human there. And the funny thing is I added that right into my profile and people still friend me anyway. Like I was like, this is the dumbest thing. There's no real human here. This is only auto posting from here, X, Y, and Z. And they still like and follow you. So
I know. I just couldn't do it anymore. It's just too much. And it's cool because, Twitter has become news, quote news. It didn't used to be news. And I still think it's fake news, a lot of it. But, yeah, it just got to be this thing but the cool thing is now that I'm not on it, when I see Twitter posts that annoy me, I can't get back in and respond. So
you're like, okay, I don't have to do that. I don't have to take that on.
I can just say no.
Just let it go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but what else, what do you think that Marketing Money Mixer did for you in terms of like week after week after week doing something?
So I already had consistency down because I have a podcast. So it just added to that consistency. I think also it gave me street cred because everybody loves you and nobody knows who I am. No, that's not actually true. but no, it did. It gave me a little bit of, we were doing this together and, we went out and promoted it together. And so I think more people found visibility that didn't really know me before. So it's all you, Tracy.
Oh, no. Well, so, I mean, this is the thing. Look, I was not a fan of going live, right? This is you kind of feel like, let's get scheduled. Let's do this. Let's go live. But the reality is that I now go live in so many different places with so much, right? So my reasoning for stopping is that I have too much content right now. So tomorrow our HP series goes live for 3D printing. So for the WTFFF podcast and our 3D Start Point website, that goes live tomorrow. That's 25 episodes in 30 days. And so like I just went through my social posting schedule and went, oh my gosh, look at all this content we have coming out. I have in a week, I have Pat Flynn who was on my show and the Binge Factor. So that's like a big win. And I've got like Wondery people who I interviewed for the end of the month. So I've got like really big shows coming up for the Binge Factor that I want to promote, but I'm getting too much content. And that's really where it's sort of muddying the things that I want to highlight. And so that's my reasoning for doing this. And also because a lot of times we're covering the topics two ways. So like I'm already covering it, maybe more specifically for podcasters, but I'm already covering it in my weekly coaching with my clients. So that's where we get to this, I felt like we're getting a little repetitive for what I cover and what I talk about, because I also, I record so many shows and do so many things. So there's like too many ties where it's probably me and not necessarily the audiences because they're all different in different places, but it was probably me who felt like the repetitiveness was there. And I don't like to do things twice.
Yeah, I don't either. But here's the other thing. I've sort of transformed in the last 6 months, thanks to Scott Carson. I now do more done for you quizzes, and I've pretty much eliminated my group program. I wasn't enjoying the group program anymore, and I love getting in and out and building. Sometimes, and Scott popped on. It's like he heard
his name.
Yeah. But with Scott's first event of the year that I was in January, I promoted the Done for You, and I did it reluctantly. encouraged me to do it for a while. And I just kind of, I love teaching people. And then I got to the point where I didn't love teaching people anymore as much. So
Right.
the
Well,
done
but
for yous are
here's
great.
the struggle, right? So we've got Tony Frisch Connect, Paul Hoyt, Scott Carson on. We've got Rebecca Victor, Becky Walker, Michelle Pearson Young, Art Costello, like are on Facebook. So we've got this whole group of people who are on right at this moment listening to us live, and we regularly have a good 8 to 10 people who join in various places when we're live. And I feel there was this part of, it was about 3 months now I've been saying, I feel like we should stop this, but I didn't want to stop it because of them. But at some point you have to say, my business shifted.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not right for what we're doing here, or I'm serving this audience over in this other place. Let me serve them better here with a more focused topic or more focused way. So thinking about that is like, that's the hard part for most of us, because we all did just get personal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we personally want to show up because these people keep showing up. So we personally want to show up for you again next week, but we do have to remember that we'll be back in our regular programs that we're already doing anyway, and we're still there. So we're not gone.
We're just not on every Monday. So
Which is not on every Monday night.
So if it's okay, I'd love to bring Scott on for a minute, because he has an event that we're participating in tomorrow. And would that be okay?
Yeah.
Like, really,
please.
You're gonna say no?
I'm not
going
to say no to Scott. Are you
no,
kidding?
Scott
He's got
sucks.
a big day
Don't bring him
tomorrow.
on.
It's a big day tomorrow. Did you guys
It is.
know it's International Social Media Day, or is it National Social Media?
I think it's,
Day?
I don't know. It's Social
International.
Media Day, but Scott, hey.
Yeah.
What up? What up? What up? What up? Can y'all hear me okay?
We can hear you fine. We can hear you fine. So how's Snow White? I saw your post about your beloved is Snow White now.
He's
I
trying to
missed
get
that.
squirrels. So Steph is like national, like Snow White, like when our yard turned into a tropical forest, basically. She's got birds that are eating out of her hands. We had a squirrel get stuck in the house that she was able to get out, who comes back just to visit her.
Oh.
Seriously, he comes back and like flashes her on the window, and the cats like will play with it, the squirrel back and forth.
Yes.
I mean, it's literally like we've had rabbits that have come into the backyard before. We live on the north side of Austin, so it's I just keep waiting for a knock on the door and the 7 dwarves to show up and whistle. I'm thinking here. So
Yo, you better have like a drinky in there. Get rid of Sleepy and bring in Drinky so he can bring you cocktails. So
Exactly.
tell us about tomorrow. Where can people sign up? What are we doing?
So tomorrow is National Social Media Day.
National.
But I've got an international flair like always. We've got people from 6 different countries actually speaking throughout our 12-hour live stream. And we kick things off early at 8 o'clock Central Time, and we'll run 12 hours all the way till 8 o'clock tomorrow night. And so 24 social media experts in a variety of different categories, from podcasting to books to authors to Instagram to, I don't know if we've got a TikTok expert to be dancing, but anyway, just really excited. We've got a lot of great people coming on. Social Media Day was actually started back by Mashable in 2010. 3 years ago, my friends Christy and Elijah Whites got the city of Austin to declare it in Austin for the day, as Seattle was the first city that declared it, and every city popped. So I was one of the big sponsors with digitalmarketer.com back in 2000, and I guess it would be 2017. In 2018, we did a 27-hour live stream for social media.
I remember that one.
Wow.
Yeah, over 150,000 views in that 27-hour period all across the world, which is great. I think it was over 500,000 a few months later. But anyway, I didn't do it last year because I was in the middle of something, but brought it back. And I didn't know if I was going to do it except till about a week and a half ago. I was like, what the hell, let's put together. I got some great friends out there. And so excited. We got a couple hundred people that are RSVP'd already. We'll live stream it as well, but you can go to socialmediaday2020.com.
Okay, I'm putting it in here in the chat, socialmediaday2020.com.
Yeah, and if you go there, they'll just take you straight to a Zoom website. There's no other website for it. I probably should have spent a little bit more time going through the schedule and holding people a little bit more accountable to what they're going to talk. But we've got Sophie Gill starting off, who'll be joining us from Milan, Italy. She works at buffer.com with our friend from Buffer, Tracy, that you put me in touch with over there.
That's
Haley
awesome.
Griffiths.
Yep.
And then we've got Lindsay Phillips from Canada. We've got Indris Dea from Barbados, who is a social media marketer there in the Caribbean. I've been on her podcast before. We've got Charlie Valher with Valher Media all the way from Australia. Join us. Of course, we got a few blokes from here in the United States and across the country, but pretty excited about it. It's free. I mean, there's different social media things going on, but I'm actually really jacked up. We had already many people RSVP to stay in and join in all a couple days. So yeah.
It's going to be some great stuff. Tom's going to show up. So Tom
Yes,
Hazard,
sorry,
my
yes.
partner, is going to show up. Yeah.
So
Let's not forget about Tom here, but yeah, I'm on a webinar seminar thing tomorrow. So Tom's going to, going to go do the social media thing. And so, which is kind of interesting because he does not normally do anything but Facebook in our social media. So, we're looking to catch him up on something. Yeah. But he
I might
knows
have to
all
guide
about
him a little bit.
Yeah. But it'll be fun.
It'll be a lot of fun. Scott, so people don't know, what people don't know about you is you have this amazing ability to like come up with an idea on Sunday and by Friday it's live.
That's
And
right.
I mean, and I don't mean like, hey, I'm going to do a Facebook Live. I wake up Sunday morning. I'm going to do one this week. It's like, I'm going to get 50 people together over 3 days to do a summit. And like, I don't even know how you throw it together so fast. You got piece to pivot, like piece and pivot together so amazingly fast. And Elizabeth and I couldn't have done it.
Well, you could have. You could have. You
Yeah.
just need a little guidance there. I mean, that's the thing I look at. I've been doing this for 5 years, so I've got the system down. I got a VA that knows exactly what to put in, and we've streamlined it. Like what I've been working on the last 2 days, you're gonna crack up this like social media. We're good. We've been done for 2 days on the marketing on that. I've got Buffer set up to automate stuff, and you're gonna love this because I was listening to ladies talk about, and Tracy's talking about how a lot of content in your specific niche aspect of things. So with my note business, it's been a little chaotic because of everybody being stuck at home and evictions and foreclosures being delayed and all that good stuff. And I celebrated my 11th year anniversary in business with WeCloseNotes.com. And 10 years ago, roughly, I went on the road, like city by city, like literally just traveling across the country. I thought it'd be 30 weeks turned into 4 years of nonstop travel. I was like, well, I would love to do that again, but I can't because Texas, we's kind of the rule breakers here. We got a lot of people getting sick. So they kind of shut everything back down here until August. It's like stay at home through August. I was like, I can't do that. I got to get out on the road. So the last 2 days, I've come up with a crazy idea to hit the top 40 markets in the country virtually in 49 days. So
I can't wait for that.
Yeah.
And basically, so if I'm not already doing a webinar on Monday night like I do normally, I have 2 on Tuesdays, 1 on Wednesdays, 2 on Thursdays. I take Friday, Saturday off, 1 on Sunday night. And I'm doing that from July 7th until August 19th.
Oh my gosh.
And here's the thing. One of the most things I did well with was the one grassroots. A lot of us get so bogged down into blasting mass. I'm kind of taking it micro. I've set up individual webinars, individual links. I'll be marketing directly to meetup groups in those areas, smaller Facebook groups. I bring in realtors on in each city.
You're getting micro-locationed on top of it, which is
Mhm.
really valuable. So you're definitely doing the targeting. Yeah, that's a great model.
How are you doing that micro targeting? Are you doing that through Craigslist?
No, I'm literally going to meetup groups in those areas in the cities,
Wow.
real estate meetup groups. I'm
Mhm.
also,
love
I've
that
got a
laugh.
data company that has pulled a list of every IRA investor in the city, and anywhere from 10,000 to 45,000. And then also he can also search by number of real estate investors in a specific city. So I'll be purchasing micro lists of investors, emails, database, with their phone number, addresses, and cell phones, and text message marketing or inviting them through Eventbrite or meetup groups as well to show up for the hour. With the idea that, we'll talk about the market, talk about the opportunities and why you want to be investing in debt by the end of the year, and sell them to a small, normally $99 class, but a $49 one-day class that we'll be doing twice in 2 months. So
Nice.
good.
Wow. I love it. Love the strategies. But the other thing, Scott, about you though, is that, this idea, I think that there really is something to be said for if you had planned and done like months and months in advance to do it, it probably wouldn't have done it any better.
Yeah.
Like your systems are just so down. Most of us get bogged down in having to set up those systems and processes, but it's not the actual marketing of it or the actual doing of it. That's the only part you have to live within. And to be honest, doing it more last minute is better nowadays, right? Aren't you finding that the show up rate is greater if you only announced it 3 days before?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, with everybody being stuck at home, they don't have to buy flights, book hotels. If they're stuck at home, it works out well as long as you can add value. That's the most important thing, or hit the hot buttons. But yeah, Juliet, you talked about the Mass Media Mastermind Summit, podcasting summit in January, and I put that off. I was going to do it in October and push it off to November, push it off to December. I was like, I really need to do it. So that came together in 2 weeks, in the middle of January for that. But I'm just like, look, I'll just throw it out there. Sometimes you got to plant the flag, and sometimes having a deadline makes you work a little bit harder. My eyes are crossed right now. I'll tell you that right now. The last 2 nights, I've been like, I can't look at the computer anymore. I got to leave. So
You're like, I cannot do another social media post plan on my buffer today.
That's a good thing. You know what? We need another mass media summit soon too.
It's already on the calendar.
So get on it, dude. Like, slacker.
Let him get through
go.
his
Hang on a
note.
second. Hang on here. We're going to drum roll this out here since you're going to bring me up there. I just put it on the calendar. I haven't even got a website or anything for it. Since tomorrow is National Social Media Day, many people don't know that September 30th is International Podcast Day. And that lands on a Wednesday. So I think we're going to do a 24-hour live stream, or I may just not kill myself and do it the weekend before. So like the 25th, 26th, and 27th, we may do International Podcast Weekend beforehand. So
wow. Okay, so we'll be ready. You were going to do that with Austin, a university in Austin. Are you going to do it online with them?
Not with us being where it's at right now. It's just too crazy. Texas State University was so impressed with what we did last time. They volunteered to sponsoring it and give us office space. I've been in touch with Judy. They're still going to be a major sponsor for this event. So they're pretty stoked about that. So I actually just got off the phone with her this morning, and I don't know exactly what the size of their sponsorship is going to be, but hey, it'll be nice to throw a little cash in on a virtual event every once in a while.
I know. I'm going to miss it not being with Snow White at Disney World this year.
I know.
So.
When we get back, I think we'll do that again, probably by the end of the year, because we've already got bookings out in December. Stuff's got like weeks booked, like special things. And every time that Disney closes, I think she physically just gets depressed here.
I know.
'Cause I can hear her just doing the whole, every time Disney delayed.
Oh,
poor
We
Steph.
had 2 cruises that we were supposed to be on already get pushed back or canceled. And so we're just like a little stir crazy. So before too long, I'm going to have to like go out there and like put up a big screen and like blast Disney movies every night just to keep her sane.
well, there you go. Except most of them are offensive now, right? So what do?
You bring out the old stuff.
Yeah, bring out the really old stuff. You guys need to learn to hike. That's what I've been doing. Since we can't go anywhere, I hike a lot.
Well, there you go. Well, Scott, good luck tomorrow. Looking
Yes.
forward to hearing it. And thank you so much for inspiring Juliet to start this, because we've had a lot of fun for the last 7 months. So we thank you for that. And my gosh, Juliet, lots of fun here, right?
Lots of fun. We still talk every week though. So Scott, I need new ideas. We'll be talking.
All right, call me on Wednesday or
Okay.
Thursday from Comatose.
Okay.
There we go. Next
Thanks,
week.
you
We'll give 'em
guys.
some time. So thanks everyone.
Everybody.
Marketing Money Mixer. This is the close. Love you all. Thank you so much for being with us.
Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye.